Hello friends, we are starting another podfic on the channel. This one is not a one-shot. This one is one of the longer ones that I have written. It is called Baked with Love, and it is written by me, Beauty and the Bookshelf, and this one is actually 11 chapters. Some of them are short, so we'll probably be posting more than one chapter at certain times. This first piece that we're going to do will probably be chapters 1 and 2 because chapter 1 is really only a prologue and it is pretty short. Overall, the entire fic is about 5,600 words, so it's not too long. Most of the chapters are fairly short. There's like a couple in there that are a little longer. This story is for the My Hero Academia fanfiction. You will probably notice that that is pretty much all I write, and I pretty much only write Kirishima and Bakugo. Those are my favorite people to write about, so they are the two characters that the relationship is for in the story, and they are also the only characters in the fanfiction. The tags for this one are Baker Bakugo Katsuki, photographer Kirishima Eijiro, alternate universe modern setting, alternate universe no quirks, small town romance, getting together, fluff, strangers to lovers, Bakugo Katsuki is a good cook, food as a love language, Bakugo Katsuki is bad at feelings, Kirishima Eijiro is a ray of sunshine, confessions, and first kiss. Here's the summary. The plan was simple. Write a sarcastic piece about the bakery with the world's angriest scones. But a couple days turned into weeks, and suddenly Kirishima is neck deep in cinnamon rolls, feelings, and a very confusing crush on a baker who communicates exclusively through pastries and insults. Falling in love was not on the menu. All right, just some little notes on this one. I honestly love the coffee shop and bakery setting, and this was another story that when I was brainstorming some ideas, this was an idea that was in my head, and so I kept the idea and used it for a fan fiction later. There was another specific one that I wrote I wrote before this one. It was much more angsty, and this one is a lot more fluffy. They went in very different directions. All right. Chapter 1, which is actually the prologue, but I named the chapter Oven Temperature Set to 5,000 Degrees. Prologue. At Food Hell Reviews, the cinnamon rolls were an 11 out of 10. The customer service is a war crime. Hashtag Death by Bakery. Hashtag He scowled when I said thanks. At Tattooed Truth, worth the wait, worth the pain, worth the death glare. Hashtag Baku Bites. Hashtag Sugar and Spite. At Midwest Munchies, I think I got yelled at for breathing wrong. Best pie of my life, though. 5 stars. At That Diner Bitch, he told me to order like I had a brain, then made me the best damn scone I've ever eaten. I'm so confused. Hashtag Baku Sins. Hashtag Customer Fearvis. At Emotional Edibles, he made me cry in front of my boyfriend, but the cupcakes saved our relationship. Hashtag Flavor Aggression. Hashtag Worth It. At Coffee or Courage, I asked for cream in my coffee. He said, and I quote, "It doesn't need it, neither do you. I've never felt so alive." Hashtag Emotional Support Espresso. Hashtag Bakugod. Kirishima stared at the screen, half laughing, half horrified, as he refreshed the tab for the 3rd time that morning. There he was again, the culinary menace, the pastry tyrant, the guy who apparently told a customer that their taste buds were underdeveloped and pathetic, and then served them a tart that made them see God. It was chaos, beautiful, flaming, slow-motion chaos, and it was perfect. He exhaled through his nose, took a sip of his coffee, and opened a new document. Title: 5-Star Fury. Subject: Bakugo Katsuki, owner of Death by Flavor. Let's see what makes you tick, tough guy. He booked a rental car. Chapter 2. Let the Dough Rise. The town wasn't even on his GPS at first. Kirishima had to pass the same fresh eggs sign 3 times before he realized he had already driven through it. He rolled down the window. The sun was already too strong for late morning, warming your skin to the point of discomfort. Everything smelled like dry grass, dust, and some kind of animal. Cows, maybe? Hard to say. This was easily the smallest town he'd passed through on his trip, and honestly, he was just hoping whatever that smell was didn't follow him into the bakery. Good light, quiet streets, a little haunted looking. Yeah, this'll do. He found Death by Flavor at the corner of a faded main street. The building was black brick and rusted metal, with a sign that looked like it'd been hand painted in fury and sarcasm. Death by Flavor in blood red script. Underneath, in smaller letters, so good it'll kill you. Kirishima reads that sign on the way in and just mutters, well, at least he's consistent. The front door had a sticker that said, no foodies, no bloggers, no bullshit, and handwritten note taped below that, no substitutions, no smiling, don't ask. Kirishima grinned. Charming. He pushed the door open. A bell clanged like it was pissed to be disturbed. The air hit him like a freight train. Warm, yeasty, spiced. Whatever was baking in the back had no business smelling that good. The interior was as intense as the sign. Matte black walls, concrete floor, a chalkboard menu scrawled in sharp, aggressive handwriting. There were 3 tables. 2 were empty. At the third, a woman with a laptop flinched as someone from the kitchen shouted, don't touch that tray or I swear to God. Then he appeared. Bakugo Katsuki. Apron dusted with flour, arms crossed. Scowl locked and loaded. Order or get out, he said flatly. Eyes already narrowing at the camera bag on Kirishima's shoulder. Kirishima gave him a wide, disarming smile. I'll start with whatever smells like heaven and rage. Bakugo blinked. What? Surprise me. I like danger. He slid a few bills onto the counter. Name's Kirishima. Bakugo stared at him like he was sizing up a punch, then turned and shouted something unintelligible towards the kitchen. A few seconds later, a tray slammed down near the register with a scone the size of Kirishima's fist and a steaming cup of something dark and aggressive smelling. Bakugo glanced at the camera bag. Kirishima beat him to it. Not a foodie, not a bulgar, just passing through. It wasn't exactly a lie. Don't complain, Bakugo snapped. I never do, Kirishima said, sitting down by the window. He reached for the scone. Bakugo didn't respond. He just went back into the kitchen, muttering something that sounded like another damn hipster with a camera. Kirishima bit into the scone, and it nearly knocked him out. Sweet, spiced, just enough burn to make him question his life choices. Yeah, he thought, licking the cinnamon from his lips. This guy's got something. He just doesn't want anyone to see it. And he leaned back in his chair, eyebrows raised, chewing slowly like he was processing a personal revelation. Behind the counter, Bakugo muttered something unintelligible and vanished into the kitchen again. It wasn't just good, it was dangerously good. The kind that came from someone who knew exactly what they were doing and didn't give a damn whether anyone liked them for it. Kirishima didn't reach for his camera, he didn't take notes, didn't say another word. Just smiled to himself and took another bite and decided to come back tomorrow. All right, friends, thank you so much for listening to chapters 1 and 2. The next chapter or chapters, we'll have to see how long it is, will be out in the next few days. And I hope you come back for the next part. See you next time.